What's up, man?
What's up? We back, son.
Yep, for 15.
That's it. I don't have
Yeah.
anything to say for 15.
No, it's we should have waited to do the 13th one on Halloween,
That's
which
right.
is today.
Today. All
Things spooky.
Yeah. Scary day. Whatever you call it. Yep. All Hallows Eve. Here we go.
Ooh.
Do you feel creepy?
A little bit.
Yeah.
No, but Jacqueline or Jack, sorry, not Jacqueline, Jack is making me watch devil. She's making me watch devil movies though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which ones do you like?
The Nun.
That seems weird.
It's devil stuff.
Yeah.
But the Nun and the Nun 2.
Sequel.
Yep, she's back. They were pretty good. And
what about Nunnery After Next? How's that?
that's coming out in the fall or in the spring. But
Two nuns, too furious. Wait a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got family.
We got the Eucharist.
But then we watched one of the Annabelle movies, and then The Conjuring. That one gets.
Yeah.
They're like the same
Yeah, Ed and Lorraine.
Oh, it's like
Warren.
the Marvel universe.
Warren. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, they had. I guess is that true? They had all that. They really do have all that stuff at their house, right? Is that where the museum and stuff came from? Where Annabelle and all them were at? Yeah, that the comedian Matt Rife. Yeah, we got it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, in the Conjuring movie though, what we're talking about is in their house they have like the Annabelle doll and all this other possessed, toys and masks and different things and stuff. But yeah, I'm not a big scary movie guy, so every time around this year, I always I try to be cool, but they scare me.
Scariest thing I think I've seen lately is Spookly the Cowardly Pumpkin. Is
Mm-hmm.
that right?
Square?
Yeah.
Is he from the SpongeBob universe?
I don't think so. No, I don't. I'm like you. I don't get into scary movies, and mainly because, as a youth, as a little kid, my older brothers, specifically Jesse, would make me watch all the most terrifying stuff out at that time. Which back then it was like Halloween, The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
There's a movie called Silver Bullet, Stephen King werewolf movie.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And The Mangler, those kind of things. And I just kind of lost my taste for them. I just, once you're overexposed to it as a kid, I watch it now and I'm kind of like, it just doesn't hold up. But Halloween, the Halloween movies with Mike Myers,
Mm-hmm.
those kind of, I feel like, hold up the best. I think those of all the scary movie, for me,
Yeah.
kind of hold up the best.
I think if I could pick one, Halloween would be, but I have kind of the same story as it wasn't brothers, but it was cousins. Would always make me watch all the Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger, Halloween. I guess like your classics or whatever. And yeah, I guess that's what scarred me. But Jack's got a different story. They used to do that all the time, and when we go to her parents' place in Georgia, that was like their thing. They'd want to watch. We did all the Saw movies and stuff like that, and
I watched Saw too. I just wasn't into it. But I'll be honest, I'm kind of a wuss about movies. It's like, give me the action movie or happy ending kind of things, and I'm fine. I like which it's not really a scary movie, but it's kind of along that theme. We watched some Marvel movies that we hadn't seen, the newer ones.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of just going downhill with Marvel. But
there's a gazillion of them though, right?
Yeah. We watched Morbius.
Oh yeah, the vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turns into this vampire. Morbius, the comic, was always a bad guy, but now they kind of made him kind of a bad guy, kind of a good guy character.
That's the anti-hero kind of thing.
Yeah, Jared Leto played it. I think he did
Ooh.
bad though. I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
The way they wrapped it up and how some of the writing in it wasn't the greatest, but it was a good movie. But we watched Kraven, the Hunter.
Okay.
My favorite Spider-Man villain of all time, Kraven the Hunter. And I love it. It's fantastic. It was a great movie. The dude that played Quicksilver in the
Oh,
Avengers thing.
yeah.
I think he's the one that plays Kraven the Hunter.
Okay.
But if you like the Spider-Man villains at all, I
Yeah, we're big on Spider-Man.
Yeah, but I mean, the reason I say Halloween movies is like the scariest thing I've watched lately. Now we watch The Walking Dead and stuff like that, but zombies I feel like don't fit into the Halloween thing. You know what I mean?
No, they're for all year.
It's all year.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if zombies were part of it, then I would say World War Z.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best zombie movies, by far.
Next year we're watching Scooby Doo instead of The Conjuring.
Exactly. Spookily the
yeah, the square
Check
pumpkin.
No, but I don't get a lot into those. I'm trying to think of the ones I do like. I just mentioned they're like the World War Z.
Mm-hmm.
They're more action than scary movie though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if those count.
I don't think they do.
Probably not. No. To be
a good scary movie was me watching Annabelle with my cross the whole time.
Oh yeah,
just in case.
You're
like, yeah.
Hail Mary, grace.
Well, they said that it's the new Conjuring movie, right? That just came out not that long ago, and they said that like Catholic priests were like blessing people with holy water as they were going into the theater.
Oh yeah,
like they're that concerned about.
That's funny though.
Yeah. So then I'm all paranoid watching The Conjuring and all this stuff. And I'm like,
makes the sign of the cross. Every time you hear that, the music come on. And I think that's what makes a scary movie.
music.
No, the suspense.
Yeah.
Are they building you to that jump scare moment, or that where you're white knuckling the table, or you're kind of afraid to look? Those are the. I'm not like the slash and hack. There's overt gore. I think that's what Saw was for me. It's just too gory.
Yeah.
I like that suspense where it makes your heart beat a little faster, and I consider those better scary movies. Are they giving you that white knuckle, afraid you're going to jump moment, and you can kind of get those with a good scary movie, I think.
Like the movie Signs, right? So we watched Signs in the theater, and it's the only time I've ever screamed out loud. And it wasn't even my fault. It was Jack's fault. Jack has embarrassed me. Actually, there's two stories if we have time. There's two stories.
It's your podcast, man.
Yeah, it is my I own this. There's two stories, but Signs, we're in the theater, and she always does this thing. This is another thing that drives me nuts about the scary movie thing, was we would watch scary movies, and she's like, right here. Well, in Signs, we're in the theater, so it's more like she's got a hold of my arm. So there's this scene where they're looking in that cornfield, and I know it's about to happen. I'm that guy where I'm like, okay, yeah, something's going to jump out.
Yeah.
So I'm watching. But what I didn't expect was when the thing jumped out, she dug in.
Bit your arm.
Yeah, she dug in and jumped. So I was like, ah!
Everybody in the theater is like, you go, man.
Yeah. Oh! But the funniest one was I almost sacrificed her at a haunted house where we went to a haunted house here, actually pretty close to that was your fault. But once again, they want to do this. I don't. I have no interest in haunted houses, any of that stuff. So I'm I'm kind of in the middle of the pack. We're going through this, and it's all themed like I think there was like a Jason, I think there, and stuff, and then they had like this weird Santa Claus, bloody Santa Claus thing. You go into these different rooms and they jump scare you and stuff. But for some reason, I got pushed to the back by the time it's all said and done. So as you're leaving, or you think you're leaving, there's an exit sign, and you're walking towards there. And like I said, I'm in the back, and I'm just like, and everybody's walking. Well, the walls start to go like that. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? So I'm looking, ahead, seeing what the walls are doing. I hear a chainsaw start up. So I turn around, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy, I don't even know, does that guy have a name? Leatherface. Leatherface, yeah. Is running at me, full sprint, hitting the chainsaw on the ceiling, and it's sparking. So I'm like, well, I pushed my way to the front like a real man. Left, I guess we were dead. We weren't married, right? So that's, we weren't married, so that's fine. So pushed push the girlfriend down.
Yeah.
And
there's a ring on it.
Yeah, exactly. I have no obligation to protect her. So, pushed her down, jumped over her friend, smacked a couple guys, pushed them aside. I'm first one out now.
Nice.
And waiting. And you survived, though. So, but yeah, not my finest moments with the scary and spooky stuff.
She still married you.
Yep. Once again, your fault.
Yeah, on you.
Yep.
Oh, man. So, before we get into heavy stuff.
Oh.
Big news everywhere. Since you texted me, I have not stopped seeing this news everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Mustaine.
Yep.
Megadeth. Their last album, supposedly.
Yeah.
Putting out a cover of Ride the Lightning by Metallica.
Yes.
Yeah. And now people who don't even care about Metallica or Megadeth are sharing this everywhere. It's like the big news story.
Yeah. Well, first thing before we get into the Metallica Megadeth thing, do you think it's really their farewell tour? We just talked about this. That's why I asked. Like Kiss, how many farewell tours? And
Aerosmith's got new album out.
Exactly. They did the farewell thing. Motley Crue. I saw Motley Crue on their farewell tour, and we just seen them a couple years ago. The Slayer, same thing. They were going to do these festivals. Boom, boom, boom. We're done. Now they're going on like doing another thing where they're playing a few select dates of I forget what year anniversary of like Rain and Blood. So they're doing that now.
Right.
So it's like, are they really done? Yeah, Godsmack came back.
I kind of understand with Slayer a little bit because Jeff Hanneman died.
Mm-hmm.
They had some people in their lineup die, and maybe they're like, we're done.
And they got rid of probably one of the greatest drummers, in my opinion.
Right, yeah.
I don't understand that, but
I don't get it either. But hey, to each his own. And I kind of get them going, you know what? We kind of miss it. We didn't think we would, but they're back. So I get that. And, Kiss, I always felt like it was a money grab. I think you have to assume that.
It was 100% a money grab.
They would have farewells every so many years, right?
Yeah. Well, they did that, and then they did kind of I don't remember if they disbanded or weren't playing for anymore. So their fans, the Kiss Army, started doing like conventions. Like you go to Comic-Con or whatever. You'd go to these Kiss conventions, and people be there. They'd have memorabilia, stuff like that. Well, Kiss finds out about it. Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, and they're like, it'd be a great idea. We start running these things, and we play at them. So that's where you get Kiss Unplugged album. It's from one of those conventions. And then what they did was, at that time, they had Bruce Kulick on guitar, and Eric Singer was playing drums. So they did the Unplugged set, and then they brought Ace Frehley and Peter Criss out and did like a whole big thing with everybody. So it was absolutely money for them.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty open about that too. Where they saw these fans were like, just doing something. They'd be like, "Hey, we love Kiss. We want to get together." And they're like, "Oh, we can cash in on this, and we can bring back some of the original members." And who's not going to want to see that?
I get that, but then I understand what you're saying. Actually, I heard a rumor that they think that this is setting up Metallica ousting Kurt
and bringing Dave
back in the band.
Oh.
That's what they think. Because Dave made a comment about this being a full circle thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And so they said, well, it's not really full circle just doing a cover song. Because he did, was it Mechanics?
Mm-hmm.
Off one of his albums, Mechanics, which was, I'm trying to remember which song Mechanics was. Was it Four Horsemen? Yes. Mechanics was a version of Four Horsemen. So he kind of already did that. His version of the Four Horsemen. Of course, he was in Metallica. He wrote a bunch of songs, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But that's the deal with Ride the Lightning is he felt like he wrote, was a co-writer of this song.
Yeah.
And so it's full circle coming around. And so one of the commenters said it's not really full circle unless he
gets back a piece of the pie.
Yeah, he's back in for the next. That's why it's going to be the last Megadeth album. Because now he's going to be in the next.
Oh, so this straight going to the conspiracy,
exactly.
He's disbanded Megadeth so he could be in Metallica.
Be in Metallica. Exactly.
Do you think Kurt goes back to Exodus?
I don't know. That'd be interesting.
Well, would you want to see that happen?
Part of me, well, I don't. I hate talking bad about Metallica, but the last album, 72 Seasons,
Mm-hmm.
some of Kirk's stuff felt like it was just radioed in. Like it was just,
Yeah.
phoned it in. He just didn't really. Some of it didn't have the oomph. But the rest of the album, I felt like 72 Seasons is a great Metallica album.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the guitar solos were not as inspired as I think the songs deserve.
Gotcha.
Now, I probably couldn't play them, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, as far as Kirk goes, his best work.
Yeah.
And I think it's some of Lars' best drumming
Mm-hmm.
recently has been on 72 Seasons. It's a great album. And now
Yeah.
it's not hardwired or nothing like that. That was a
If we're doing large drumming stuff, I think Injustice for All and Master of Puppets are probably his peak
sure.
drumming.
Yeah, I'm talking about this decade.
Yeah, yeah.
You've got
What, you're not talking about the 1900s?
we ain't going back to the 1900s here.
I mean, I'll say I'd like to see it.
I'd love to see it. I always
Because-
liked Dave as far as his guitar playing.
Mm-hmm.
Outstanding. And he had some health issues and he couldn't play for like he couldn't, and he's recovered from that. I feel like I think he's right, and he says it all the time, but he's right. Him and James created the sound,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
so there's some of that. Could be some redemption there. I hate to see it for Kirk unless Kirk's like, I'm really just done.
Yeah, and then maybe that's it.
But it's speculation, but it's fun speculation. I'd love to see
Yeah.
it. They did kind of with the Big Four thing where they're
Yeah.
on stage together.
Yeah, they played Am I Evil?
Yeah.
But they did that with not just Megadeth, it
Yeah,
was
Slayer,
Slayer,
Anthrax,
Anthrax,
yeah.
too. So, yeah, I'd kind of be excited to see it. It would be a nice kind of ending. We talked about on the last, I think it was the last podcast, we talked about Dave and how he's kind of wrapped up in the, like, I got kicked out of Metallica, and they're like
Right,
one of the
yeah.
biggest bands ever. So,
Yeah.
and like I said, you get that, but he's also in Megadeth, which is also one of the,
biggest metal band
yeah,
ever.
as far as that genre of music, like you said, they created that pretty much, him and James.
Yeah, I think in the last few years, Slayer has surpassed Megadeth and their fans. I'm
Yeah,
not sure that, but we'll see.
The longevity of Slayer, I
Right,
think,
yeah.
so they've stuck around enough to, I guess, stay relevant.
But I like that he's putting this song on the album.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you that I was really stoked to hear it. I'm just interested to see what he does with it. Now it's Dave, so it's probably gonna be faster. It's gonna be Dave's voice and not James,
Mm-hmm.
which I love. I'm a
Which,
big fan of James'
when
voice.
we were talking, do you think that, how like James's voice on Ride the Lightning was kind of more of that high pitch thing, so
Oh,
it
yeah.
might actually be close to what James
It'd
sounded.
be closer than maybe James today.
Yeah, because James really blew his. I think, and forgive me if I'm wrong, James, but I think he blew his voice out on, I think the song "So What" when they were playing. I can't remember which tour and stuff, but I think I saw an interview one time where he's really messed up his voice really bad, and he does all the vocal exercises and stuff like that now. Like I said, that might be totally wrong, but
I feel like his singing's better now.
I do too. I like, I like the yeah, I love it. So,
But that's kind of one of the I really had for the whole Megadeth thing. I knew it was big news for us,
mhm.
and I know like you're kind of we're standoffish of Megadeth for a while.
Yeah, I was probably that fan that Dave complained about all the time. So sorry, Dave.
Yeah,
I've came around. Yeah, Dave and James, if you're sitting together writing new Metallica stuff,
watching this.
yeah, watching this, getting inspiration. Yeah, I was kind of that guy at first. It's kind of like you felt like, well, it's kind of like if you like Louisville, you can't like Kentucky.
Sure.
If you're an Indiana fan, you can't like Kentucky. If you're a Kentucky fan, you can't like Louisville, Indiana. Kind of thing. Duke, North Carolina. I kind of felt like it was like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I like Metallica, so I have to be
Against
on their
Megadeth,
side.
yeah.
And I never really had any beef with like Megadeth. Like I said, I've came around to where I've said that's kind of silly, and Megadeth writes fantastic songs. So
Yeah, that Cryptic Writings album, I think, is what made me
Mhm.
go, oh, wait a minute.
yeah, I think that was the one you show. I think that was one of the ones that you kind of was like, no, listen to this.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and they kind of changed my tune.
It's a really good album.
Fingers crossed. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I'm dope.
So in the spirit of Halloween, I've been putting this off forever because, as we were talking about before we started, that I wanted to give this subject I was going to research it, and I was going to do all this
Deep dive.
oh yeah, I was going to watch all the YouTube videos and all the information I could get. But when I did it, I really could have just what I had.
You knew.
Was gonna be fine.
Holy Spirit done told you.
Yeah, but for Halloween, I figure it's a good subject. So that's why I held on to this for so long. And like I said, you'll find out why. But have you heard of the Order of Saint Lazarus?
The Order of Saint Lazarus.
Yes.
No, I have not.
So they're named after Saint Lazarus. I guess a beggar that was covered in sores. I think it was in the Bible.
Sure.
But they, I don't remember if that Lazarus was in the Bible, but they think that I saw a thing too where they think that the Lazarus Jesus raised was a leper
in Bethany.
Yeah, they said that they think that he was a leper.
Oh,
and stuff. But anyways, so it's this hospital basically that takes care of lepers during the Crusades. It happens right around the time of the Crusades. They're Catholic, and they look at Jesus took care of lepers, and so they felt like they had a calling to do that. So they're basically this hospital for people that have leprosy. So during the Crusades, though, they go full military, and they start fighting.
Oh, nice.
So this is why I was like, well, I got to research this. I got to know about these leper knights. Is what they're called. So basically, these they gave a spot for I guess they knights that contracted leprosy. This gave them a chance to fight. So these guys were crazy. So they almost had kind of like a Viking.
What do they got to lose?
Exactly. They almost kind of had a Viking thing where they would kind of seek out to be a martyr. So they would fight these battles, and they would just go full in. Even when odds were stacked against them and they were losing, they're like, "No, we're gonna go.
We're going.
We're gonna fight," and stuff like that. But their nickname is they were called the Living Dead. So I was like, how crazy would it be if you're in battle? So you're in the Crusades, and you're on that other side, and you see these
leper knights,
leper knights, half dead, guys coming at you and stuff. But like I said, the problem was when I just started to do all the research, and I thought I was going to get this whole big nice story. Pretty much their story is they were in a couple battles, and they weren't the main. They were just a part of a couple battles, and they pretty much all died every battle. So they were like, yeah, we're going to go fight in this battle. They all got killed.
Wow.
Then, all right, we get a few more. They went to battle. Every one of them got killed. But what it did kind of going down the rabbit trail, do you know about King Baldwin?
Yeah, did we talk about Baldwin?
Me and you, I think, have talked about him before.
I thought we did.
No, I don't think so. We may have.
Yeah, okay.
We're 15 deep, so.
Kingdom of Heaven?
Yeah. But, so I started, looking at him, and, that's what I saw started seeing all the memes of the Kingdom of Heaven, stuff, and, was looking through it and all this stuff. And I originally thought he was part of this, but he wasn't.
Right. Well, I thought of that when you were saying.
Yeah. I misread some of the stuff, and I thought actually he led those nights, but he didn't. That wasn't But how cool is that guy?
Oh, way cool.
Overcoming all this adversity. He got leprosy when he was 9, and I didn't know this, but you lose feeling. Mm-hmm. So for him to be able to ride a horse, battle, he didn't have any feeling hardly. And another cool thing I learned, well, I guess it's not cool if you have leprosy, but you lose the ability to blink, and you go blind.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So everything dries out because you can't blink and stuff.
I didn't know that.
But I saw this, I was listening about him when he was 16. He defeated I guess it's Saladin.
Saladin, yeah.
Yeah, Saladin. And it almost has a 300 kind of feel. 26,000, strong. He did it with 375 knights and 1,000 infantry.
Yeah.
He got him. And it is kind of like 300 because they said that the way he won was he kind of got him into this narrow pass. So only a certain amount of soldiers come through. And there's a scene in 300 where they do that.
Right.
They keep them all on this one side where only so many can come through, and then they drive them off the side of the...
Now, I thought he surrendered.
He did.
Or they made a treaty? Or?
He did eventually because they had respect for each other because he beat him. He almost got killed in this battle.
Right.
So he came really close to you know getting
Yeah.
the axe or the spear or the sword or whatever. And then I think they met again, and that's when
I think we did talk about this a little bit because we talked about courage and being manly.
that's a good possibility.
So I don't know if we went all into this or not. You'll have to go back and watch our previous episodes. But this Baldwin, it's just like one of those stories that inspires. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the idea. And I'll tell you, since we talked about the thing,
Oh yeah, the
the
Viking
Viking
priest or whatever.
Viking priest, warrior priest, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I've told everybody that story. It's like stuck with me. It's that same thing. It's the story that inspires, that sticks with you, that you hold on to, and they have that same kind of mentality. You're right. Of I'm doing this for the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah.
Aptly named.
And what's even crazier too is they I didn't even think about this, but they kind of had to, as Catholics, they kind of had to walk the line of like being martyred and is this suicide by
Right.
army?
Yeah.
So you kind of got, I don't know how you walk that line, but they talked about, they had to be careful because, if you commit suicide with Catholics, you're not getting into heaven.
Yeah.
So you kind of had to, this is not like, oh, I went to battle and I lost my sword and got stabbed, so now I'm a martyr or whatever. But
well, this is the Lieutenant Dan tale, right?
yeah,
Leave
me, Gump.
Like this is the honor that you get for giving your life.
Yeah, and I'd like to think, of course, we can think that, but if I ever had something like that, like leprosy or something, like that'd be kind of the way to go.
Be the way to go. Well,
give me a sword, and yeah,
every guy wants to die with their boots on.
Yeah,
sword in hand, boots on, fighting. That's nobody wants to be just like, I choked on a potato chip. That's how it went down. You want to have that.
One of them ho-hos will probably get me. So
Cosmic brownie, dude.
Yeah, cosmic brownie. Wait, cosmic brownie?
It'll be the cosmic confetti on it.
Yeah.
You choke on and die. Yeah. Dude, I love those stories. I love those tales. Like,
yeah. I wish they had a bigger part because that's what I was hoping. I was hoping I was going to look up these Crusades and they were going to talk about just how these guys decimated people and, were just chopping people up even though they got their arms chopped off or, like it was real life, like zombies. That's, we just talked about zombies. But yeah, they pretty much just went in the battle and they got decimated. So, yeah, I've been sitting on that for I think since we decided to do a podcast.
Yeah, but we're still talking about them.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Yeah, the Pope, Innocent, one of the, I can't remember which number. They
run together.
He said some good stuff about them and stuff, and they're documented in a couple battles and stuff. But yeah, like I said, not real. It's pretty much that.
Yeah. They were still talking. This is becoming like a history podcast.
Yeah. In case you didn't know, we're history guys. In
case you didn't know, we like metal and history.
And cosmic brownies.
Snacks. Snacks we like. We like this. All right. So, today, Halloween.
Yes.
And there's a lot of controversy about whether we as Christians can celebrate this holiday.
Yeah.
Or if we should be dogmatically against it. There's always this camp against that camp, and if you do celebrate Halloween, you're obviously not as Christian as those who protest Halloween. And so I have seen all these videos, and I kind of have an opinion of myself, or not of myself, but I have my own opinion formed on this. And so I kind of wanted to hit this here a little bit. So, Halloween. Is it an evil, pagan, satanic, worldly, devil-worshipping holiday made by Satanists to worship Lucifer, to have all these rituals where evil spirits are, and the barrier on October 31st is the thinnest between our
realm and the spiritual
realm? Yeah. It's like that, what's going on here? Or what's the history behind this? So I thought I'd look right into it myself. And so what the argument is that Christians adopted All Saints Day. Mm-hmm. They moved it to November 1st. And so they have All Hallows Eve on
I thought Halloween. That was a Boondocks Saints movie, All Saints Day.
I get it. Um, and that we just co-opted this pagan holiday.
Yeah.
And that's why we have this. And the same argument is for Christians. So I did some deep dive into this, and what I found out was pretty interesting. So All Saints Day, yes, this was instituted by the Catholic Church, um, but it's like has history all the way back to the fourth century.
Mm-hmm.
So you go back to the fourth century, like 350 or something like this, when they started celebrating these feast days. So it was feast to commemorate all Christian martyrs. That's how it started. There were all these different feasts to commemorate all these Christian martyrs. So you had like 20 martyrs that were killed at the same time. They were a group of Roman soldiers
Mm-hmm.
that refused to renounce Christ, and so they martyred them all.
Yeah.
And there was story after story like this of these martyrs, St. George and the Dragon.
Yeah. Or like the Leper Knights.
Yeah, that was later on, not the fourth century.
Nope.
But so the church was celebrating these on different days, and so you have May 30th or May 13th in Odessa. There was a day where the church was celebrating the memory of martyred Christians who had passed, and so we have record of these. We have historical precedented record of these.
Uh-huh.
One was on Friday, the Friday after Easter in Syria, they would commemorate the saints who had passed. I can't remember if it was the one in Syria or the one in Antioch, where we have writings from John Chrysostom, Saint Chrysostom, who was saying that they were celebrating these feast days for martyrs who had passed. All Martyrs' Day is what they were called. And so they celebrated them on all these different days from the 4th century on. And it wasn't, and that makes sense because, Diocletian was, right before that. Emperor Diocletian, that was the worst persecution. What we think is for the church was under Diocletian.
Yeah.
Emperor. And so this was right after that. And so they had All Hallows Eve, or they called it Hallowmas. Hallowmas. It was a feast of Hallows. It was commemorating these saints who have passed. All Saints Day, All Martyrs Day, whatever you would call it, for all Christians who have been born. Move into the 8th century. So you're looking around the 700s, and there was Pope Gregory III. And so he moved it to November 1st. He was the first person to move this to November 1st by the 8th century. And so the whole Catholic Church could celebrate on the same day. Well, that was pretty much ratified by the next Gregory, the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was later in the 8th century. But this is what I thought was interesting. During the reign of Charlemagne, in Charlemagne's court, there were these clergymen that would come from the Gaelic churches,
Mm-hmm.
the Celtic Gaelic churches of the region. Now, I think Rome conquered the Gaelic area and Ireland and all that, 45 AD or something like that. Can't remember.
Sounds right.
But they say when Rome came in and conquered Ireland and the Gaelic areas and those things, that the Celtic people adopted some Roman festival traditions. And one of those was a harvest festival. Now they changed the name to, we call it Samhain, but I think it's pronounced Samhain.
Mm-hmm.
Samhain, 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 and they have this harvest festival. We'll talk about that here in a second. So during Charlemagne, all these Gaelic and Irish churches in Northumberland kind of area, and or the Britannia or England, I guess, what you call it, they were already celebrating these All Saints feasts on November 1st.
Mm-hmm.
They were already celebrating. So we have a rich history of the church celebrating All Saints Day or All Hallows Eve or Hallowmas all the way back from the 4th century into here the 8th century, 9th century of the church. We have very detailed historic record of that. What started this whole conspiracy or connection between Halloween and Samhain, or Samhain, however you want to pronounce it, was one guy named James Fraser.
Am I supposed to know this guy?
Yes.
Probably not. If you're
Jamie.
if you're a female, then you watch
Oh, Outlander.
Outlander.
Oh, light bulb. I was like, am I supposed to know this dude?
That James Fraser was the character's name. I don't think they're the same James Fraser.
Yeah,
It's got to be. This guy ruined Halloween for everybody, and you watch the show?
That's
like,
right. Yeah. No, this guy was kind of a historical, religious, historical kind of guy. Anyhow,
yeah.
he's the first person that connected Samhain to All Saints Day, or what we consider Halloween now.
Yeah.
And he said it was because on this day, it was a feast to the dead.
Okay.
It was a feast to the dead. But there were other historians at that same time who were like, no, that's not really the case. And so even those historians can't agree on whether Samhain was a feast of the day or a harvest festival or whatever. But I don't know if you remember this, but when we were at Liberty, going through seminary, Bible class, courses, whatever, our teacher, Harold Wilmington, brought up the fact that you could connect Halloween to the flood.
Okay. I don't remember this.
You don't remember this?
I don't know.
Yeah, this is what I found it. And I thought it was just something Harold Wilmington was doing. This was years and years ago, by the way, that we went through school. We're older now.
Yeah.
So
old and forgetful.
Yeah. And Jeremy doesn't remember this in class. Probably because you couldn't copy off Randy.
That's a possibility.
But so what it was in the Bible it says that the biblical account of the flood says that on the 17th day of the second month. Now, in the ancient calendar, the 17th day of the second month isn't like February 17th.
Yeah.
It was November 1st by the ancient calendar. So they said November 1st was this Day of the Dead. Well, in all these ancient cultures, up through the ages, consistently across the globe, there is both historic or traditional stories of a flood that killed everybody.
Yeah.
You have the Epic of Gilgamesh. You have all these flood narratives, even in South American cultures. There's this kind of flood narrative that goes on. And connected with some of these flood stories, but almost all these different cultures have a Day of the Dead that they remember either late October into November 1st, November 2nd.
Gotcha. The Day of the Dead stuff, is that in November? Like the actual, is it do the Mexicans and stuff do the Day of the Dead, right?
Well, it's not just the Mexicans, but the Spanish, a lot of the Latino,
gotcha.
American, or Latin culture.
That's where you get all like the sugar skull stuff and...
Was it Dios de Muerte? Something like that? I probably butchered that.
But is that different than...
Well, no, because a lot of those cultures are Catholic. Remember, Spain
was that's true, yeah.
the huge Catholic power.
Yeah.
And so for years and years. So a lot of those Latin cultures have, and even so, like, Italian is a Latin language.
Yeah.
They spoke Latin. French has Latin roots. So a lot of these other cultures, even they're not considered Latin American or Latin as far as Spaniard or Theo or whatever you call them. They have that shared history. And so it's Catholic. A lot of those are Catholic. Now, for All Saints Day, it's not only Catholics who celebrate All Saints Day. So they're recognizing, commemorating these martyrs of the church who have died. And so the Catholic Church did this, and they celebrate on November 1st, All Saints Day. But also, the Anglican Church does it. Lutherans still do this. Methodists still do this. There's a lot of Protestant churches who recognize and have celebrated All Saints Day and All Hallows Eve for centuries. I mean, this is not a new thing.
Yeah. And
so it could be argued that there is a greater historical precedent for Christians celebrating Halloween than pagans.
Mm-hmm.
Because for Samhain, we only have history really up until like the 1600s. Is like when they really started digging into this.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you look at these, going back to the Day of the Dead, talking about Day of the Dead in Mexico and all
Mhm.
these Latin countries, they have these Day of the Dead, but they're largely Catholic, coming from All Saints Day. These other cultures, though, Japan celebrates All Day Saints Day. Um, China. So I wrote some of these down. Egypt, Greece, Roman. Rome had something like this. Assyria, Aboriginal Australians
Really?
celebrated the Day of the Dead on November 1st.
That's cool.
Now, this predates even Christianity if you go back to the flood narrative. So there have been this cultural thing going back to this forever
Mm-hmm.
for that. But for the church specifically, we have all the way back to the 4th century documented record of us. I say us, for Christians. Now, I'm not telling you have to celebrate Halloween. I don't care one way or another. I'm not out there celebrating Halloween, but I'm saying it's a dumb thing to argue over.
Yeah. How do they celebrate All Saints Day? Is it, or do you know, like the?
Well, yeah, historically, what they would do is, for especially Catholics, they would do these things called soul cakes,
Mhm.
and so you would make these soul cakes. You're
like a sweet treat?
yeah, a sweet treat, and you're not getting tricked. And they would sometimes they would dress up and they would give these to each other as a treat. And then other Protestants would do different things like that, because for Catholics they were praying. You have different ideas. Now I'm not getting too deep into theological stuff. But they had the church triumphant, the church militant, and the church something else. And I think it was like in tribulation. But anyhow, and so they would give these gifts as part of that. You're praying for those who are dead. You're giving these trees to each other, and so there has that real heritage with that. So there was that, but there was also they would dress up for some of these Latin cultures. They would dress up, and for us it would seem morbid,
Yeah.
or a little bit macabre. Now some of these Catholics, they have saints with their skulls and everything, their relics and all
well, and
that
I'm
stuff.
pretty sure going back to the Baldwin thing too. I'm pretty sure when he went to fight Saladin or whatever, like they had a relic. He was carrying a cross with a relic.
Cross with a relic.
I don't think they said what relic, but yeah.
Yeah. And so the church did those things as another way of commemorating or honoring those saints who have gone before. There's a tradition and it's not just Catholic, but Orthodox. Now, Orthodox Church still celebrates, I think, on different days. I think it's on Pentecost.
Mm-hmm.
The Orthodox Church celebrates for All Saints Day.
Gotcha. Okay.
But remembering martyrs. The Orthodox Church there. In I think Eastern Catholicism still celebrates it at Pentecost, or around that time. And so that, to me, has a deeper history for us. Now, that's not our culture, but we went to a pretty conservative Baptist school for our Bible studies. And so, they have that history even in there. And so I think to me, it's foolish to say, I'm not trying to convince you to go celebrate Halloween, dress your kids up as ghosts and ghouls and give out candy and have your jack-o'-lanterns and do all those things. And, if you're uncomfortable with that, by all means, do not go against your conscience. But it's also not appropriate to say you're not listening to the Holy Spirit, you're not being wise, you're not following, when we have this deep church history in remembering this thing. And I think it's a missed opportunity for us to honor martyrs.
I was going to say the same thing. I kind of want an All Saints Day party. I
want to remember. I want to think about these martyrs, especially now in Nigeria, in Syria, things that are going on. And I consider, and you might not agree with this, fine. I consider Charlie Kirk a martyr.
Mm-hmm.
For no other reason except for he was bold for the gospel of Jesus Christ, and he was killed. Now, you can say he wasn't martyred; it was a political thing. I'm not arguing. I'm just saying that there are. I think it's right and appropriate for us to honor those who have died for the faith.
Isn't it usually the government that does that though? When you get martyred, like I mean, I read, and I know you've read it too, Jesus Freaks and stuff like that. That's usually where the problem lies. With the Charlie Kirk thing, it's like usually that's where you get in trouble. Is you have a church at your house, you're minding your own business, and then the government doesn't like that or whatever, and comes to get you,
right?
And then puts you in jail, tortures you, or whatever the case may be, starves you. Or just right out kills you right there. So it kind of, I mean, I don't disagree with that, because you can say it's political, but that's usually who makes the martyrs.
Exactly. And I think it goes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it does us good. Because remember the memento mori thing.
Yeah.
Remember that you will die, and it's like, well, that seems morbid. Well, no, it's for us to get in the right mindset.
Yeah.
And that's like what you said. Again, I'm not a political guy. I'm wise about politics. I know what's going on. I'm aware of all this, but I don't speak out politically because this isn't where my allegiance is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love America. I'm proud to be an American, but this isn't where my allegiance is. My allegiance is in heaven. I'm an ambassador for a different kingdom.
Yep.
And so it helps you frame the way you should be thinking when you think about the martyrs, when you honor them. And the Bible does say it's right to honor those who died for them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And so I think it's appropriate for us to do that, but also memento mori.
Yeah.
Remember that you will die. It's not being morbid. I think we just try to be two rays of sunshine, and it causes us not to have a depth of character.
Yeah.
Now, the last thing I'll say about this, and we can talk more about what we're saying is, so the problem a lot of Christians have with Halloween. Don't play footsie with me.
Sorry.
Dude. I'm trying to be serious right now. We can do that later. The problem a lot of Christians have with Halloween is that, it's all about dead. You're glorifying the dead. We're about life. We're about living. And this is about the dead. And they're like, okay, I get where you're coming from, but we have a history and a precedence of this throughout the church to remember those who have died and remember that you will die.
Yeah.
But also, for us, we did a fall festival this year. And I thought, well, this is a good way. We can at least have a time of fellowship together. And some people are uncomfortable with Halloween, so I don't want to force anything on anybody.
Yeah.
I don't care about Halloween at all, so it's fine. So we did like a fall festival thing where we had a hayride and we did some cooking out on the grill, and it was a great time. We had a great time fellowship with each other. But if you think about it in light of this, that this was a day of remembering those who have died for their faith.
Yeah.
And Samhain or Samhain or whatever you want to call it was really be a festival for the fall harvest.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fall festival. If you want to align more with the church and biblical history, it's more about the Day of the Dead than it is about a fall festival.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that was kind of ironic. Again, I don't care what anybody does. I just thought this was all interesting stuff.
I mean, I'll give you this. It's definitely a better argument than what's wrong with some kids, going around getting candy. That was kind of because our household, we did the Halloween up pretty big. Mm-hmm. Like, it was always funny. My dad's side of the family, these were the people that scarred me, and maybe this is part of it too. But they're the ones that we talked about at the beginning that scarred me with the scary movies and stuff like that. They would get together for Halloween, like other families would get together for Christmas.
Right.
Like we had we go to my uncle's house. He had a big old creepy looking barn, and we had a full-fledged like haunted house there. Did the bobbing for apples, and, got candy. We all dressed up. It was a big deal.
Right.
Every year. And this same uncle, you go by his house right now.
Oh, yeah.
He's passed on since then, but you go by his house right now, and his kids have it decorated up.
It's something to see.
Yeah. So but it's definitely a better argument than
Overplayed for you. Maybe.
That's how we would argue. Be like, there ain't nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But
I would go back to this. Don't violate your conscience.
Mm-hmm. I kind of want to celebrate this,
and also don't condemn yourself by what you approve.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible says both those things. So, but I think it was neat. Now, I also saw in studying this out that the same thing could be applied to Christmas. That we have record of the church celebrating Christmas all the way back to the 4th century. Also, 4th century on both. And there was a lot of you can call pagan traditions added to that later.
Yeah.
Now, either we added that or changed the date. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have people who very early in Christianity were saying they thought December. And there was reasons they thought Christ was conceived in March for whatever reason. But that was why. And so that's a different podcast, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, I've always kind of heard that too. Like, Christians kind of hijack the pagan holidays and turn them Christian.
Yeah.
And stuff.
But that really didn't seem like. Now, listen, like I said, even those historians didn't agree.
Yeah.
And people cannot agree with me. I'm not a historian. I don't have a PhD in this. It's just some interesting stuff I found. And I thought it'd be fun for us to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much the extent of it.
It's kind of how I want my funeral to go too. Like, you know, I want it to go down as kind of more of a like a festival type thing. You know, like a celebration of like, you know, you can get together, have fun, laugh, and tell goofy stories about, you know, stupid stuff I did. Maybe, you know.
Well, every one of us die first. The other one's going to party.
Yeah.
That? You saw it here. Yeah.
Throw the big, massive party.
Oh, no. We just made a pact on Halloween.
Boom, boom, boom. So is that bad? It's those Conjuring movies. They got me all messed up in the head.
Well, you can decide. On Halloween, on All Saints Day.
It's up to you.
Yeah, it's on you. You can decide. Our pact, whether that was evil or not.
That's all I had too, man. Was those Leper nights. That was gonna, you know, take us for like a 4-hour podcast, but
yeah, that was good stuff. Well, actually, and we'll save this for another podcast too. I thought you were going to talk about your conspiracy that you came up with when we were at that.
Oh no, I haven't. I haven't got to research that.
Okay, so we'll just keep that.
Yeah.
That one's on the
keep
shelf.
that one. Yeah. So.
All right, man.
So yeah, make sure you get your candy checked.
And happy Halloween.
Yep.